I just wanted to go back a moment. You said a moment ago that President Trump kept the taxes where they were, and it wasn't a big tax cut. That has not been CNN's position for months. CNN said it was a big tax cut for the rich people. Most commentators on this network have said that. I made the point that this was merely stopping a tax increase, and you're not agreeing with me.
Let me clarify.
That's Republican strategist Brad Todd blowing apart Abby Phillip's talking points so cleanly that even CNN can't spin it fast enough. Once he brings up the middle-class tax cuts, she's got nowhere to go because their narratives always collapse the second anyone pushes back. Welcome to Nerk News. I'm Nerkish, and it looks like Democrats and their media allies are struggling to explain why Trump keeps winning on the economy. Because every time affordability comes up, the left tries to rewrite 4 years of Biden-Harris failures and hope people forget prices rose 21%. I mean, it's the same old projection game they always seem to play when backed into a corner. Here's Todd continuing the brutal takedown to the dismay of CNN's smug panel of liberal hacks.
That, you know, the Trump administration and the Republicans in Congress, they had some choices that they faced. They could have
raised taxes or stopped
They could have kept taxes the same for the vast majority of Americans, and they could have raised taxes for the wealthy. They chose not to do that. They decided to keep taxes more or less the same, but also cut spending in ways that cut what lower income Americans received from the government for their tax dollars, and use that transfer to fund the tax cuts for wealthy people. So look, you can call it whatever you want. My only point is,
but I want to put a pin in this.
But my only point is, Brad, I think that Mike Johnson and you and Donald Trump thought that, well, the American people are going to reward you for giving them those tax cuts. Well, it turns out they're not really going to give you a brownie for keeping things basically the same. They wanted things to improve, and it's not.
But Abby, if you think the economy is not what it ought to be now, you should have seen what would happen if their taxes had gone up. Yeah, if Democrats tried to raise taxes on every American,
act as if this was you act as if this was a
Democrats had no plan. They had no plan to stop the tax increases for working people.
Kept taxes low for the vast majority of Americans, and
Democrats
they could have rolled
that
back some tax cuts for the wealthy. They chose not to do that. That was a choice. That was a policy choice.
Larger gap.
You know, this is the same kind of BS spin that people tuned out years ago. Phillip keeps framing Trump's tax cuts as favors to billionaires, even though Republicans were the only ones blocking Democrats from raising taxes on working families. I mean, let's not forget that real wages fell 4% under Biden. The reality is voters wouldn't have tolerated tax hikes on top of that. Trump's cuts helped 80% of taxpayers and saved the middle class about $1,200 a year. CNN pretending to be confused about affordability while ignoring Biden's 25% grocery spike and 30% jump in energy costs is laughable.
That was a choice. That was a policy choice.
Larger gap in America between the haves and have-nots right now. And the problem is that Donald Trump lives in a white billionaire bubble. And if you are a multimillionaire, if you are a billionaire, you're doing very well because the stock market, despite everything else that's going on, is going strong. But if you are one of the people who shops at Costco and goes home with 30 rolls of toilet paper and 20 pounds of, ground beef, you are feeling it. And these people that Trump hangs out with on a daily basis, the billionaires in his cabinet, the billionaires at Mar-a-Lago, the billionaires that he invites to the White House, they are not feeling it. And he just, he is clueless. When he says that affordability doesn't mean anything to anybody, it means a hell of a lot to the people who can't get health care
now are
because
Democrats.
Those premiums, actually they're not.
Yes, they are. For every billionaire who gave Donald Trump money, Kamala Harris got 2.
All right.
So this is really a Democrat issue.
There's a lot of billionaires in Mar-a-Lago.
You know, pretending Trump is the candidate of billionaires when Harris pulled in twice as many billionaire endorsements is nuts. I mean, her Wall Street fundraiser alone brought in $27 million. CNN keeps chirping about Trump's billionaire bubble while shielding people like Harris and Walz who soaked up elite donor cash while lecturing working families about equity. Not to mention that Biden's inflation crushed those same families by causing 21% cumulative price hikes, resulting in eggs hitting $5 a dozen and real wages falling. Trump's energy deregulation and tariff resets are just trying to reverse the damage and set us on the right track again.
Scott Jennings, with all due respect, The president of the United States ran on lowering prices. Like, that's what he ran on against Joe Biden. Obviously, there are other issues as well. And now that it's his economy, he wants to say, well, this doesn't matter at all. Is he not running into the same problem that Biden had? I mean, President Biden was trying to convince people that they shouldn't believe their lying eyes, right? Or that they should believe their lying eyes. And now the president seems to be doing the same thing.
Well, I don't think he believes it doesn't matter. I believe he thinks the con job is the idea that Democrats would run around screaming about affordability when they're the ones who took prices to the moon over 4 years and seem to want to bear no responsibility for supporting the Biden-Harris agenda, which caused the affordability crisis in America to begin with.
I mean, the tariffs aren't making it any better. Honestly, I shouldn't make this argument. Mark should over here. I'm going to hand you that ball.
I think people expect you to. Look, he's got an economic theory, and they're executing it, and it includes making the tax cuts permanent. It includes energy deregulation, which has created low gas prices. And it includes, all the things they put in the big, beautiful bill, and they've got more to do. But the idea that we're going to cede the affordability conversation to Democrats who ran prices to the moon and now act like they had nothing to do with it and that Donald Trump is fully responsible for that is a complete con job. He's right about that. Now, in an election cycle, he has to go out and make the case. He's the best salesman in the party, and he has to draw the line, not just on what he's doing, but what they would do and what they did do, and I suspect that's what he'll do in 2016.
Jennings lays it out plainly. Trump isn't buying this manufactured affordability panic because it's clear that the crisis belongs to Biden. Prices skyrocketed for 4 straight years. I mean, inflation hit 9.1%, groceries jumped 25%, and Biden added $9 trillion to the debt. Now, Trump's actually fixing it. We're seeing 3.8% GDP growth, manufacturing is up more than 200,000 jobs, real incomes are finally rising again, and the supply chain is strong enough that egg prices have dropped almost 50% from their wholesale peak. Meanwhile, CNN keeps blaming him for problems he inherited while giving Democrats a free pass. But let me know what you think. Are Democrats panicking because Biden's economic failures are impossible for establishment media to spin away? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.